In the Lamb muchachos. What's going on, my vibration expression of God on earth? It's your boy, Will Rogers, aka Master Teacher 33. This is the introduction to the next series that we're getting ready to reveal, explain, illuminate, and simplify, which is Age is a Program. In this series, we're going to destroy the illusion of getting old. Now, the science is in, especially when you look at some of the research that's been done by people like Dr. Bruce Lipton, Joe Dispenza, Royal Raymond Rife, all of the stuff on the new science of autophagy by my boy from Harvard University. Everybody's taking NAD supplements. The dominant culture has known about some of these overstandings for years. We're coming at it from a little different perspective because, again, we're doing everything based upon nutrition, what I've been doing my entire life, which understanding what we call the rotation of the Bible diet. But we got to destroy, first of all, the illusion. We got to get to the core of our way by which we establish our belief systems. And once we get into over an understanding that all is mind, meaning that melanin is the way that you process mind. So it's extremely important that we understand that we have to break free from the illusion. It's an illusion of growing old. So we all have been taught this illusion. It's all part of the way that we process information. It's not good. It's not bad. It just is. And most people are doing the right things. They're just doing it the wrong way. So during this series, we're going to really delve into the way that the brain processes this stuff that we call information. So about the background noise as well. But it's extremely important because, like all of this series that we do, we got to get into the details. So, the devil, like they say, the devil is in the details. So we want to delve into the details during this series, behind the scenes, so we can break free from the program. But first, we got to establish how mind control programming works. So we're going to get into the definition of the word, aging, what it is, what it means. And then we got to get into cells and cellular biology. We have to really delve deeply into cellular biology. Because when you understand cellular biology, something really remarkable stands out. When you look at cellular biology, there's no cellular way that you and I should be aging. Based upon the way that the body is designed by God, source of the universe, something is not right. Something's wrong. And the thing that is wrong when we look at something as simple as, let's pick an organ, let's say kidney functions. The way that, your kidney is designed to function. And when we look at the functioning of something as simple as, we can look at the liver, you can look at the spleen, you can look at any organ inside of the human body. And what you notice is that each of the cells inside of the body regenerates and renews itself. And when we look at for example, kidney is nothing but a filter. And so it filters the blood. Like every minute, it removes what we call waste out of your urine or out of the body. Puts it into the bladder, and the bladder removes it. So anytime there is an issue, we have to look at the way by which the cells of your body are able to maintain a healthy, balanced state. And the thing that stands out about, for example, the kidneys is the minerals, like I talk about in every show. Minerals, not every show, but anytime we talk about nutrition. So we have to look at the three things that's the most important in not just the kidneys, but every aspect of the body. When we get into the three keys that we're going to be really, really delving into when we talk about age of the program. Because we want to look at number one, which is how do you control and maintain blood pressure? Then number two is how do you make sure that the blood cells that carry oxygen, iron, and all that good stuff, especially sodium and potassium. And then number three, we've got to look at bone density. So out of everything that we're going to be talking about during this series, the anti-aging exercise that thankfully I've been doing for years, just didn't know what I was doing, but now I'm seeing, because now all the proof is coming out, because each of your kidneys, again, they have these, they call them nephrons. And it's interesting because it's very similar to the word Nephilim. And that is the way that the filtration takes place through what is called the renal vein. So we have renal failure because that vein collapses due to a lack of what they call glomerulus. Glomerulus. This simply means a tube that removes waste. So when the tube stops removing waste, we have dis-ease. And so the three things that stops, whether the neurons in the brain, or whether we're talking about the tubulars or the nephron or the nephilim inside your kidneys, or whether we're talking about the liver or your spleen or your heart, the entire body functions on the same system based upon your melanin. So the reason that we see a proliferation inside the African American community with kidney issues is because we have EU melanin. But we see a proliferation inside of the Caucasian community because they have PHEO melanin in carcinoma and melanoma, skin cancer. I've never heard of a black man getting skin cancer or carcinoma or melanoma. I know that there's some out there. Again, don't have to call me or text me. I know that there's an exception to every rule. Just like I don't know any white person that has their kidneys blown out. So what we're doing during this series is totally different. Like the last series, which we wrap up today, which I've never heard talk. No church, no doctor. I've never heard anybody tell you that your melanin, your skin, determines how you win. I've never heard that talk. I've never heard what I just shared in the last series, that the 5 books of the Bible align exactly with the 5 races of hue man. Because hue means color of skin. So if you want to know how to win, you have to live your life according to your skin. And the skin makes you the kin. Snake is sine. Snake goes up and down. It's a sine wave. That's why the snake is demonized in every culture. You got the reverends, the doctors, and the bishops. They just read everything on the surface level. As we talked about in the series that we did before the current series, deep knowledge establishes strong conviction. So you notice the separation between me and pretty much everybody that was in the group that we had. Because deep calls them deep. 99.99% of our Cubans that I know, they have what they call surface level and shallow learning. Again, the internet is designed, especially TikTok, to give you a 15-second high. So your relationships, your money, your diet, and your nutrition, everything is based upon their 15-second dopamine release. And so we're tied into that unknowingly. That's why we spread. We have broad learning. We don't have deep learning. It's not our fault, but you got to pimp the game. You got to understand why your life is not working. As I said in every show, the only question you should be asking is, how am I feeling? Every morning, I ask myself that question. Every day, I ask myself that question. All day, that's the only question I ask myself. I don't do no research. I don't study. I just ask myself, how am I feeling? So aging is a program. So there's an anti-aging mindset. There is an anti-aging diet or nutrition. And there's an anti-aging exercise or routine. Thankfully, by the grace and mercy of the Big G, also because of my melanin or my melanin, because again, my skin is what they call black or African American. So the psychology, what we break it down later on today, of black is different from the psychology of red, or the psychology of yellow, or the psychology of white, or the psychology of brown, which are the other 5 major melanin groups in demographics. So whether you're Puerto Rican, whether you're Dominican, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're Chinese, whether you're Oriental, whether you are European, whether you're Portuguese, whether you're Brazilian, you are supposed to think. You're supposed to eat, and you're supposed to exercise according to your skin. So we're going to be breaking this down as we just revealed, explained, and now remember, I give you $100,000 if you can find this anywhere on the internet, other than just people who are reposting my shit. I said again, I give you $100,000 you can find what I just taught or what I'm teaching in this current series on the Torah and the body and race and melanin. No gender. It's your skin. See, once you understand in order to win, you got to go within. But you can't go within unless you understand your skin. The same way, you got to understand chlorophyll, the green blood of the plant. So the sun hits the plant, and the plant converts sunlight into melanin or chlorophyll. We do the same thing. So you manifest, you get results based upon your skin. As I said, white people have PHOE melanin. Black people have EU melanin. Asian, Hispanic, Dominican, Puerto Ricans, all of them, they have PY. Some have NEU, or what we call neuro. So without understanding that, you are swimming upstream. You're swimming against the current. Now, let me make sure we over and understand what we just said. Because in this series, just like the current series, it really would be beneficial to have already listened to the series that we're breaking down today, or we're finishing and wrapping up today. Because then you can understand the importance of your skin. That's why God gave it to us. What's the biggest organ in the body? The skin. What is the one thing that nobody really talks about? Skin. Now, we do beautification of the skin, but we don't understand the process of the epidermis or the pigmentation of the skin. That's why when he cast out all those demons, and then, like I said in the private message, those demons said, hey, bid us that we should go into those pigs because of pigmentation. Because pigs are the closest to what we call humans. Pigs establish gigs. That just simply means that your mind set, your mental disposition is governed. But you are supposed to govern because the pig represents what? Many dispositions. Because all the demons, which are dispositions, went into the pig. So all your dispositions are in your skin. So what Source Code did was remove and limit dispositions based upon your skin. So if I'm talking to a white person, I know I'm talking to a certain disposition that activates the neocortex versus when I'm talking to a black person. When I know I'm talking to a disposition that activates all. That's why black people are more what? More emotional, more animated, more physical. Because, again, The color black absorbs all of the electrical magnetic spectrum. This is radiation. But radiation is not in the box. It can't be. It's not. There are no boxes like your boy Terrence Howard is talking about now. The universe is just curvature. It's curves. It's sine waves. It goes up and down, 24/7, 365. So in this series, just like the last series, we got to break down. We got to understand that the Torah is a cosmic blueprint for life. So the 5 types of melanin establishes the 5 types of sun eaters. We're all sun eaters. We all eat the sun. One race, many forms of light. So the 5 books in the Bible that make up the Torah, which means to Ra, which means to the sun. So to the sun. So there's 5 types of ways by which the sun processes. That's called melanin or melanus. Now, if you don't understand melanus, then you don't understand hue. You don't understand hue, you don't understand color. If you don't understand color, you don't understand dumbed down light. You are a dumbed down light being. So source code is too powerful to put him, her, itself into one frequency, wave of vibration. So he divided it up. So the sun god has a sun book for sun people. And so no matter what your race is, what we call the Egyptian god, which is the Houthi, which means green one. So green is, Jesus came that you may have green, may have life, and life more abundantly. So nobody's supposed to age. The only reason that you age is because of chromosome 2. I should say you don't really age because of chromosome 2, you die. So if you remove that, if you put that chromosome back, remember it was removed 2,000 years ago, according to science. So if you put that back, okay, you don't die. Or you do what we don't know that you do, which is called mycosis. Now, all of these are books that I've already written. So this series comes with 7 books, plus the new book. It starts on the 17th, I think we said, or the 16th. Cost is $1,000. Early registration, you get the discount of $7.99. So that way you can understand that what some people call black magic, which is taking melanin, tyrosine, and phenylalanine. All of these end with the word 9. And you can create, I said melanin, but it's tyrosine, phenylalanine, and alanine, A-L-A-N-I-N. Now, these are all amino acids. Amino acids are what? Sentences. What is a sentence? A sentence is the amount of time. It's a term limit. If you go to jail, the judge will convict you of the crime, and he will sentence you to a specific time or term. That's what melanin is. Your skin is the term. It's the sentence. It's the way that you do time on this planet. You're doing time wrong. Not you personally, people you know. The dominant culture knows this. That's how I found it. So, phenylalanine, or however you pronounce it, is Phenylalanine. The last word is 9. What does it do? It produces neurotransmitters, especially feel-good chemicals. It controls how you think. It controls your behavior. It controls your emotion state. It controls your entire life. I've never heard anybody talk about it, especially when it comes to psychology. I've heard chemists. I heard people like me who understand cellular biology, but I never heard nobody in the church. I never heard somebody who's doing mental health talk about your skin. If you got a problem in your relationship, it's because of your skin. All problems in life is a result of the inability to understand how your skin processes information. So aging is the inability to understand the program that is created in the body to control the mind. That's all aging is. Aging is a product of the mind. If you change your mind, you change the way you age. So the way that they teach aging is everybody gets old. You're supposed to, at a certain age, you're supposed to retire. You can't work, can't do all of that shit. I'm not doing none of that. Most of my age, I remember my life just begun, really. If I wasted the first 50 years. So everything I'm doing, that's why I usually hang out with people half my age. Because those people at least know that what I'm saying is true, but they're too young to understand and see the value of it, which I understand. When I was in my 20s, in my 30s, in my 40s, I was dumb as a box of rocks too. It was all about money and poo nanny. I was chasing the dollar. I did not see the worth and the value in deep learning and deep knowledge, slowing down and really pouring and investing in my own worth and value, which is how God made me. I was too busy chasing a white rabbit, simply meaning that fads, gimmicks, schemes, everybody does it. It's human nature because it's promoted on this culture. That's why you age. Aging is the result of a lack of deep learning. It's the inability to know to know thyself. So during this series, based upon your melanin, we're going to establish 3 frequencies, waves, and vibrations that will transform your life forever. Because we're giving you the keys to a very high-powered vehicle that is really melanin. Do you know that melanin determines what you see? Because you got melanin in your eyes. Your retina is made up of the same cells that we call them optic cells or pigmentation cells. The pupil is nothing but melanin. It is a black hole, like we talked about. Remember, black hole is gravity. It pulls and it draws everything to it. So anything that your eyes can see, you can be. But we got a belief system that says that's not for me. So during this series, we're going to break down how melanin controls what we call alertness, melanin controls what we call attention, and melanin controls what we call satisfaction. Now, all 3 of those are chemicals inside of the body that is produced by melanin when it's in cooperation with the 3 keys we're breaking down during the next series. So the next series really is just part 2 of the current series. So it's a lot easier to understand the next series if you've already taken the current series. Now, do you have to take the current series? Absolutely not. All you have to over and understand is you got to swim against the current a little bit until you get a natural assimilation. Or you can do what I do. You just ask right. If you ask the right questions the right way. See, most people, they ask the right questions the wrong way. So I never ask questions of other people. I ask questions of myself. Now, that has to register a little bit. Now, remember, everybody in my circle is myself. Nobody can be in my circle. Now, you must define circle, because everybody has a circle of friends. That's your kirka, that's your church. Those are the people that get you. Usually, there's only like 1, 2, 3. Hopefully, it's your spouse. Usually, it's not. But it's great if it is. That person, they don't care what you do. Because they see you. Because they know why you do it. They know that you're learning. They know you're here to learn. They don't take what you do to them personally. Because they know you. They know that you will not intentionally hurt, harm, or defraud. They know. So even if you do hurt, harm, or defraud, they forgive. Because they know you. They see past you. They don't see your personality. Remember, you're not your personality. You're not your penis. You're not your poo nanny. You are what is called purpose. In other words, we're all the same. There's one sun, one frequency, one wave of vibration that's divided up into 5 major groups and then 8 billion subgroups. However many people are on the planet. And so nobody that's made up of source is all knowing, all power, all present. It is all simple, it is all loving. Source is just like what we call energy, based upon the laws of thermodynamics. It cannot be created. It cannot be destroyed. It just changes the way it expresses itself. So you cannot be created. You cannot be destroyed. You can't create nothing. You can't destroy nothing. You can only change how you choose to express something. You may choose to express something through poverty. That's an expression. That's not source. You have chosen to transmute abundance into poverty. That's all it is. We choose based upon how we think to take something that's good and turn it into something else. Because we can't create it. We can't destroy it. We just change how it's expressed. So when you tap Russell, age, death, maximum courses, all of this stuff is just what I know and what you should know, especially you've been rocking and rolling with me for a while, gets into voodoo and hoodoo, which is another term for gematria, another word for numerology, another word for theomathematics. So these symbols that we have, like Jesus said that preaching is foolishness, but he decided to use the foolishness of preaching to sozo, to save, to transform, to baptismo, baptize. But people forget that it's still foolishness. Now, again, foolishness, it means a lack of good judgment. So when you understand that when the Bible talks about foolishness, it's talking about a fool. A fool is just someone who refuses to listen to wisdom. It refuses to learn from failure. It refuses to respect the reality, so they repeat folly. They keep repeating it instead of repairing it. You either repair or you repeat. So if you got any disease, that's God telling you repair. But Negroes that I know don't repair. Not you, of course, but other people. We repeat. So the cells renew themselves in a diseased state. They repeat because you refuse to repair. No such thing as dis-ease. Now, we're not even going to get into that freaking 850-page book that my boy wrote that I talk about all the time that tracks every disease and connects it to every emotion. We're not going to get into Dr. Royal Raymond Rife that has tracked and established every disease known to man to a frequency. So the diseases are not real. The diseases are thoughts that are maintained over time that manifest in your behind. That's all the disease is. It's a thought that you are holding that thought. Now, are you doing it intentionally? Most people I know that suffer from any disease, whether it be poverty, whether it be sickness, whether it be ignorance, or whether it be a bad marriage or a bad relationship, I don't know nobody that holds on to it on purpose. Some people do it out of envy. They're angry, but then once they get that person back, they feel good. Remember the one question that I ask myself every day? The advantage I have over everybody that I know is when I wake up in the morning, I ask myself, how are you feeling? And I answer. And if the answer isn't magnanimous, I ask myself, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then myself will tell me, well, I'm feeling this. And I know, as you should know, if you've been following me for more than 2 days, you know what my mentor, the great Dr. Miles Monroe, along with Novell Goddard and many other people, feeling is the secret. Feeling is consent. Feeling is a contract. Now, we know that everything on this planet is based upon contract law. The devil, the bad guy, low vibration cannot touch you unless you sign a contract and give it consent. Everything that's happening to you right now because you consent. And you keep consenting because every day you must repeat. Every second you must repeatedly sign a contract in order for the demons or the dispositions to keep fucking you. Otherwise, they got to leave you alone. The way you cast out demons, you don't fight them. Jesus never fought a demon. He never do that stuff like they do in the movies. Every time he showed up, they just asked him. They knew him. They saw him afar off. Go back in the Bible and look. Yeah, I don't see demons. I don't see Jesus doing what they do in the movies. No. He just showed up. They knew him. Your presence. So when I have the same issue. My presence alone causes people harm. Meaning, they either like me or they don't. Because they sense. What do they sense? Number one, this is how you know you are in the glow. This is how you know. This is how you know you're oscillating and vibrating in a state of deep, so deep colors on the deep, knowledge that can only be activated by your skin. By being comfortable. Remember, I hated my skin. I wanted to be white. Because growing up black, all the Negroes I knew were broke, ignorant as fuck, very religious. They married, sucked. Never saw a good relationship. Every man I knew growing up, they had, 5 or 6 families. All of them, their relationships is like, they in church though, they was all booed up. But in the parking lot, it was cursing each other out. Never saw a good, quote unquote, marriage. I never saw a wealthy black man or woman. I never saw a healthy black man or woman growing up. So I saw no value. But I'm so thankful. Because if I didn't grow up the way I grew up, I would not have the deep knowledge that I have today. So now I know every problem is sent by you to inspire and to elevate you. So you should embrace every, like the obstacles I'm going through now. I love it. Because I wouldn't have found the programs that allow me to get paid from the government. I wouldn't have found the programs that allow me to have the government pay my mortgage. I wouldn't have found the programs that allow me to really understand. I watched the movie last night. Like I say, every day it's like I'm in the University of God. I'd be like, I was in tears. I'd be so overwhelmed emotionally because everything is lining up. And I'm up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning eating ice cream, watching a movie called AI. I seen that movie a long time ago. It's a movie by Steven Spielberg. This movie had to be done. I think it was 2000. I know I saw that movie like 3 or 4 times. It's about a little boy who's a robot and he wanted to be real. If you haven't seen that movie, you got to go back and watch it. I don't know. My whole life is ordered. The steps. Do you know the interest of thy word gives life? Your steps are ordered by God. That means when something goes bad, it's because your higher self saying it's time to go to class. And so you're trying to get out of it. Me, I'm trying to process it. I love it. Because I'm learning and I'm growing. I love growing. I love being the smartest man in the room. I love it. I love talking to people now. I can listen to anybody. And I can find cheeks in their armor. Just like I can find cheeks in my armor. I got big flaws just like everybody else, but I knew my flaws. I'm not walking around here acting like I'm God's gift to the planet. Man, you catch me on the wrong day, you're gonna get cursed the fuck out. Show up at my house unannounced. There's certain things I just don't do. I don't do drama. I don't do I got a lot of quirks. I ain't trying to get rid of them. That don't make me me. Everybody that knows me, yep, don't show up at that nigga's house unannounced. If you are a drama queen or a drama king, now Doc don't do drama, man. Take that shit somewhere else. Don't fucking waste my time. See, everybody has certain kinks in their armor, but you are flawed on purpose, for purpose. My problems create all my problems. Because I value time so much, I write 3 to 5 books every day. Just because I don't promote them. And I'm writing for other people, for my family. When I'm dead and gone, It's like when they found Prince's unpublished catalog. Michael Jackson had an unpublished catalog. I do too. I got at least 300 books that I've already written that are unpublished. I just Big G give me the information. I research it because I know maybe it's for my children. Maybe it's for one of you guys. Shit, I don't know. I just know if it dropped down in my gut is my God. I understand that I'm led by the Ruach and the Pneuma. I never question God. I question what am I supposed to learn from God. God is just simply the way that my brain processes my lane. That's God. Most people, they're just like I was. Where was I at? I was in a space for a long time in my life where I disliked myself. If I would have stayed in that state, I would have cancer. Cancer is cells that are rogue cells. Cancer is a cell that does not communicate and doesn't take instructions from the other cells. When you find someone, that's why cancer is so prevalent in everywhere. Cancer is like running rampant because of aging. And aging is nothing but people who refuse to listen to their gut. That's all aging is. Aging is the inability for you to follow you. Your higher self is God. Now, the thing that I love, the thing that's interesting to me is that everybody on this call are in a state where your life could be better. What do I mean by better? I mean that we have expectations, and our expectations are unmet. So that's called depression. So depression isn't real. Depression is delayed and unmet expectation. So I just removed it. So I'm not depressed. I don't feel. So when I wake up in the morning, how do I feel? Magnanimous. How do I feel? Wonderful. How do I feel? Exuberant. How do I feel? Fabulous. Twirling in the wind, fabulous. How come? All of my expectations are managed. I still have them. I just manage them. I understand where I'm at. Okay, where am I at? Number one, I know that I'm radiant. What does that mean? That just simply means that I'm comfortable in my skin. What does that mean? That means I know my numbers. What does that mean? That means I know that my melanin, because my skin appears through my eyes as what we call black, but it's really brown. So my eyes see frequency, but it's not real. My eyes convert frequency into matter. So does yours. So if my eyes are showing me the color that is not being absorbed, if you look at, and I'm going to break all of this down, but if you go to the stop sign appears red because red is the only color of the spectrum that is not being absorbed by the sign. So you see that color. So when I see a white person, that means every other color is being absorbed except white. So white is reflected back to my eyes, and I pick it up as that person is white. That person is, what we call white. But European. So I understand, number one, my electrical magnetic radiation. I understand radiation. Number two, I understand what is called oppression. Nothing can happen to you unless I can make you feel oppressed. Because it's oppression, depression, possession. So everything on this planet is to make sure that you don't radiate. Because you're God, you're sun. You're a sun eater. You eat the sun, so you are the sun. But I can convince you that you're not the sun, then you my B-I-T-C-H. I own you. Now you work for me because you got feelings. And what you feel, you give consent to. So since you feel it's not working, you give consent to it not working. Since you feel like your marriage is not working, you give consent to your marriage to not work. Since you feel like your back is hurting, you give consent to your back is hurting. Since you feel like you broke, you give consent to being broke. Since you feel like it's not working, you give consent to it not working. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just saying that you can't feel. See, people think that 3D is real. 3D is here to make you feel. I got to make you experience lack in 3D so you can say, I have lack. Then it goes to 4D, 5D, 6D, 7D, 8D, 9D. Now you in hell. But the devil has to trick you into buying and believing. He got everybody. So everybody that I know and don't know, because I go out into the world and I make videos and I do shows like this and I listen to what people say and they tell me what they don't got. Doc, I would like to take your class, but I don't. Bam. They believe 3D. So everybody I talk to believe 3D. They don't know that 3D is a test to see if you can see. 3D is a test to see if you can see. The devil shows up. If you want to use that word, devil, ain't no devil, it's just you. Your lower self does not want. Remember, the lower self is to keep you safe and secure. It believes safety is in government. So the 3D self, which is the child, it's the 8-year-old. Remember, the brain switches from usually between the age of 8 and 13. It switches from the beta state or the learning state or the absorption state into, I think it's the delta state, if I remember correctly, where it activates the fear or the fawn, flight, or fight stage. You freeze like a fawn, like a baby deer. You're just frozen. Or you fight, or you run, or you flee. That's the 8-year-old. That's 3D. So 3D is saying, please accept me, and you do. Not you personally, but people we all know. So when a disease comes, it's real. For the 8-year-old version of you, which is a reticular activating system, and it's trying to sell it to the 9 ether melanated version of yourself, which is spirit. It don't even have a body. Your spirit drives the body. So aging is a 3D reality, but it's not 9 chi. You're 9 ether God and goddess. You are a dark matter consciousness. Consciousness does not sleep. It does not eat. It doesn't have consciousness. Is all knowing, all power, all present, all simple, all love. It cannot experience what you are experiencing. Your body can't experience all those things, but your consciousness watches all those things. It doesn't experience all those things unless you sign a contract to put your consciousness in a body and experience poverty. Why would you do that? The only way you can do that is you went to a reverend, a doctor, or a bishop. Or you engage in the same verbs. Because remember, life and death is in the power of the tongue. Remember, it is done unto you as you believe. Remember, you bring about what you think about. Remember, this is abracadabra. I create what I speak. Do you remember faith? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith comes by hearing. Faith is pistis, pistuo, and pytho. Faith is the ability to induce yourself to believe by words. That's faith. So the 3D is not real. But it is real for the people that's inside of the matrix or inside the video game. I am not inside of the video game. I am not the steering wheel. I'm not the joystick. I am not the controller. I'm not even the guy sitting in the game playing the game. I'm the guy that wrote the game for the guy sitting in the chair. But in fact, I'm all four people. I'm the creator. So are you. You just forgot. I need to remind you. You're the creator. The creator is the person that wrote the script. So you are the code writer. That's number one. You're also the code that you wrote. So the code writer drops down and becomes the code. Then the code drops down and becomes the controller, the joystick, whatever character, whatever letter, whatever number. You're not it, but you are it. But you're not, but you are, but you're not, but you are, but you're not, but you are. Then you're actually inside of Grand Theft Auto. You are actually the character in the game. But you're not, but you are, but you're not, but you are, but you're not, but you are. So you get to live life on any one of these levels except level 5, which is when you go back to source. So number one really is what we call singularity, source. Singularity drops down and say, you know what, I want to be and write a story. After you write the story, you become the letters that you wrote. After you become the letters that you wrote, you become the controller. You become the animating principle. You provide power to the letter that you just wrote. Then you live out that story, that letter that you just wrote, because you animated the character. And you give birth through letters, through words, through numbers, through frequencies, through waves. Everything vibrates in this dimension. Everything is a frequency, a wave, a verbal vibration. But you're not the frequency, wave, verbal vibration. You wrote it. You just forgot. You're a God with amnesia. I'm here just to remind you. So when I found out that modern mental health is a word game, which takes us back to, number one, you radiate. Number two, you are the opposition and you are the creator of the opposition. Number three, you are the discerner. So these 7 keys are what's missing. So we are the sun. We radiate energy. We radiate positive and negative energy. So not only are you positive, but you're also negative. Because both of those are inside of, number one, singularity. So number one is singularity. Number 2 is duality. Number 3 is discernment. This is where everybody gets off the bus. Most people can't discern that they are left wing and the right wing because they are number one. They're just one bird. So these 3 keys is what we're going to be breaking down to get rid of aging. Because when you have discernment of the fact that duality comes from singularity, then that simply means that duality, all of the stuff that we believe, there cannot be no such thing. There's no such thing as rich and poor. There's just source. There's just radiation. There's just the sun sending out frequencies, waves, and vibrations that are divided into polarity. So if you lack the discernment, so when I talk to people, I just measure discernment. And when anytime somebody tells me, Doc, I would love to, but I can't. That means that they're not aware of 2 and 1. They're stuck in 3, which is okay. I spent 50 years in 3. That's what we call growth. So deep learning creates strong conviction. That's why when I talk as one having authority. And I piss off a lot of people. I don't have what they call grace. Why? Hope deferred, wax the heart cold. Depression. Depression is an unfulfilled expectation. So all my expectations are fulfilled mentally because I am a mental being. So I know I'm a spirit. I know my spirit has possession of a soul. And I know that my soul controls the body. I am not the body. I am not the soul. I'm the spirit. And I know I get to choose how I want to express my spirit. I just chose to express my spirit through melanin because God put a code inside of me that said, hey, this is a cheat code. This is a test. I'm going to give you the answers to the test. So a problem comes up, an obstacle comes up, and God says, I gave the answers. Could you imagine taking a test and you got all the answers to the test? Damn. That's why I'm so happy every day. Every problem pops up. Source code reminds me, hey, you are black. Look at your skin. Black is the book of Genesis. The Torah has 5 books in it. The first book of the Bible is Genesis. The second book of the Bible is for white folks. It's Exodus. So you ain't white. You can't exit. You're not an enslaver. You're not someone that just only has reason and logic. You're not here on this earth to enslave people who don't know their worth and their value. That's why you can't. White people are here to do the greatest service on earth, to enslave people who don't know the fuck who they are. That's their jobs. You work for white people because you don't know your worth and your value. They're here to educate you. We should see a white person, you should thank them for doing their job. That's what it is. That's why their skin is that color. Because that color is an indication of their purpose. So is yours. You just don't know. So you can't live your life according to anything that everybody, because you don't understand color alchemy. It's not your fault, though. The Reverend Dr. Bishop didn't teach you because they don't have deep learning. They got shallow knowledge. They got surface level. Not everybody believes that they God's gift to the planet. They should. So I'm God's gift to the planet in one area, though. I'm born in September. Thankfully, September is total awareness, not partial. And I'm born on the 15th of September. Thankfully, the 15th is 156. So I'm an independent freedom fighter that loves compassion. Thankfully, I'm born on September the 15th of a specific year that it gives me the number 9. So I do shit at a very sophisticated, royal, high level. Thankfully, when you add up the month, the day, and the year that I was born, it comes out to 33. Thankfully, 3 plus 3 equals 6. Thankfully, 33 is a master number. Thankfully, by the grace and the mercy of the big G, I'm also black. Which means black is the absence of all color, and black is the inclusion of all color. Thankfully, the average of the Kibilan does not know the definition of the terms that they're using. Thankfully, I do by design. So I can't take credit, just like Shaquille O'Neal can't take credit and walk around and brag because he's 7 feet tall. What did he eat? What did he do personally that I should give him an award for being 7 feet tall? He didn't do shit. It was in his genes. It's the grace. He should be thanking God every day that he was born with that genes, like I do. I can't be arrogant and cocky and act and treat other people like I'm better than them because I ain't do shit. That's why I gotta be humble. The problem is that people assume that they have something to do with grace. When you understand grace is God's riches at Christ's expense. But nobody knows the definition of what Christ, to my knowledge. To my knowledge, I'm the only one that's broken down that word that means the messianic office that furnishes the person in his office with the power to fulfill his office. Only. I know no man, woman, or child on the earth that has that definition. Do you? Because if you go into your Bible and you look up in the Greek and the Aramaic and the Chaldean and the Sanskrit, you will see 7 words underneath the one English word. And those 7 words give you a phrase that I just said. Every word in English can be broken down into anywhere from 3 to 7 underlining words. That's etymology. So I'm an etymologist. I know 0 people that can combine cosmology, theology, and biology. Oh, I know a lot of educated people, but I don't know very few who can break it down for you in all 3 layers and all 3 levels. So once you understand, what you get into, everybody has a way of doing 2 things. That's what this series is about. Perception and perspective. Perception is how my melanin and how I, based upon the month, the date, the year, my skin, interpret reality. That's my perception. It's not real, it's mine. But my perspective means I'm aware of my perception, but now I got to go in and get out of my skin and put myself inside of your skin. So now I have to ask myself, what if I'm Brother Mitchell? What if I'm a Caucasian male born in, I don't know, Brother Mitchell, were you born in Idaho? At least I know you live in Idaho. So what would it be like to be a Caucasian, to be a white man in Boise, Idaho? That means I got to get out of my black skin. I got to put it to the side, and now I have to put myself in another man's shoes so I can learn. What would it be like? What are the economic advantages and disadvantages? Are there any? What about the physical? What about the religion? What is the major religion in Idaho? Is it Mormons? Baptists? So Brother Mitchell sees the world totally different than I do. He should. What about Brother George? When I met Brother George, he was living in, I think it was Oregon, right, Brother George? Now he's in Colorado. And Brother George is Hispanic, if I remember correctly. So what does it be like to be Brother George? So when you are able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, that's what the Bible calls aletheia. You know, the Bible says that the reason people have a strong delusion is because they can't do that. That's why I do that. I know very few people that when they meet somebody, they forget about themselves and they immerse themselves in the other person's culture. Could you imagine if, even whether you're male or female, like if I'm Sister Emily and I'm in New Jersey and I'm a female, what would it be like in an all-male, fast environment and you're a woman? And then Sister Emily is, I think, Dominican, right? Sister Emily, if I remember correctly. Or Puerto Rican, or well, but so what would it be like? What is her ancestors like? What was her mother and father? What kind of environment? What was her siblings like? So that's the one-on-ones. That's why I ask people about their background. How was you raised? What was your religion? Do you have mom and dad in the house? How many brothers and sisters you got? Are you an only child? You know what it's like to be born an only child? I had a cousin, he was the only child. He committed suicide. Most people that are only child, they are depressed. That's why I beg all my children. If you're going to have one, you got to have 2. I don't know no person who grew up by themselves that are, let's use the word, happy in their own skin. They struggle immensely because they're the only child. You got no siblings. I had 13 siblings. Man, you know what it's like growing up with 13? Man, I talk shit to everybody because I had backup. It gave me confidence. I needed it bad because of the way that I perceived information. Because I was overwhelmed because I had discernment. So this series, even though we're talking only about age is the result of a mental program that is so powerful. Shit. How many people do you know that get out? How many people do you know that honestly can be in hell, meaning none of their expectations are met. I mean, they got money problems, they got health problems, they got, knowledge, education, wisdom problems, and they single or they got relationship problems, and yet they happy as fuck. How many people do you know like that? That's what this program is about. Because see, aging, like everything else, because what causes aging? Stress. The number one cause of aging is stress. It's not diet, it's not, but what is the number one way to get rid of aging? The number one way, which we're going to break down in this series, we're going to shock you, it's going to shock you. The number one way to get rid of aging, to destroy aging, is exercise. Why? Exercise is exorcism. Get rid of your demons. But it's not the exercise that you think. The best exercise, especially when you get over 60, is lifting heavy objects. Because of what happens, what you're going to break down in this series, to your bone density in your bone marrow and the production of what is called the hope molecule. In this series, we get to destroy all devils. We get to heal all disease. We get to establish mental health. That's why I'm happy all the time. Because I exercise. Then we break down number two. Number one, exercise. Number two is what I call, again, my boy David Sinclair in Harvard. Now all the white folks are doing it. They call it NAD. Please do not supplement. Please do not supplement. Please do not supplement. Because then the body stops producing it. The body produces NAD. We break all that down. It's called autophagy. So number two is autophagy, which comes from what the Bible says. Some things only come out through prayer and fasting. But we've got to break down what that means. That's the number one. The number one is exercise. Heavy lifting extremely heavy objects for you. Number two, autophagy, what we call fasting. And number three, what we've been talking about for the whole hour, which is the most important or the hardest, and that is reversing, changing your mindset. Getting out of 3D and living every day in 9 chi, which is, how do I feel? Mag-fucking-nanimous. That's how I feel. Regardless of what's going on in 3D, but how do you feel good in the midst of bad? Oh, we're going to break it down. Costs $7.99. Got, we can do payment plan if needed. After the 16th, it goes back to the regular price of $9.99. God bless. We'll see you in class.